Hi, I'm Carlo, the music composer sound designer for Time Breaking Dino Break, and I'd like to share with you my creative process about the creation of the main theme and how we did the sound design. So let's dive in. Imagine a video game without a good sound. It's very hard, especially a survival horror video game. This is why we pay so much attention to crafting the perfect sound to recreate the feeling we want. Our main inspiration for this video game was Dino Crisis, and we want to bring the fear of dinosaurs, but in a modern way, and make the player feel this feeling. Our main goal is to make the player immerse within the gameplay, and sound plays a crucial role.
Hey! Is anyone there? Alan! Gail! Can anyone hear me?
For the main theme of the main character, called Kate, we had several chats and we decided to focus on the narrative aspect of this beautiful and powerful woman. For the theme of this music, we would like to create an emotional connection with the player, and to establish this intimate feeling we decided to use just a few instruments like the piano and the cello. This feeling is enhanced by the mix of the soundtrack, which creates an intricate atmospheric texture that wraps around the player and evokes a real connection with Kate. Creating the sound effect was really fun. Of course, as a main inspiration from Dino Crisis, we were focused on creating new and modern sounds for the dinosaurs. The sound design was a really interesting part to create. I recorded some footsteps for Kate, but I also did an amazing voiceover session. The sound design, as you know, is crucial for this type of game. To create an immersive experience, we try to understand the psychological aspect of the main character. What does she feel? What does she think about?
Oh no.
We talk about the sound of the dinosaurs. As you know, we don't know what they sounded like. So we try to recreate a sound that is a little bit aged but modern at the same time. To achieve this, I recorded different samples such as balloons, dripping water, and also I added some synthesizer sounds. Layering different recorded samples with animal sound created this magic. We were able to create unique sound for each dinosaur, and also I used my voice to create some roaring sounds. I used a mix of low frequencies to create this feeling of dangerous, and I tried to capture the true essence of the Velociraptor to create an unique and a recognizable sound. When it comes to create a unique sound identity for the game, for me is the most important part of the whole process. I mean, this is what creates a unique game. This is part of the storytelling, the emotion that cannot be told but can be felt, and this is Time Breaking Dino Break.
We are with Behind the Music and Sounds with Carlo. Carlo, you have seen, has made a T-Rex sound from a violin and a Velociraptor from a balloon. So, Carlo, we've got questions. How the hell did you even think about using a violin and a balloon to make like animal sounds? I wouldn't even know where to start with that.
Okay, well, as already said, we took a lot of inspiration from Dino Crisis and in general from Capcom's video games. And of course, we wanted to convey the fear of dinosaurs, and we paid so many attention to the detail to create an amazing Velociraptor sound that is unique, recognizable, and of course, truly terrifying. And yeah, to create this sound, we tried so many times. I think I lost the count. And yeah, it was a very, very long iteration process, but it pays off because we wanted to change the perception of the Velociraptor as, you know, some kind of reptilian dinosaurs. For instance, if you look on YouTube, there is a video about the Jurassic Park Velociraptor sound created by Gary Redstone. He used a variety of animal source like yeah, like turtles, African cranes, and even human voices. But one was very important element for us, and in this process, he used a wireless which has a very low deep frequencies combined with a screaming baby dolphin, which has a very high pitched sound. So instead, we try to look on internet, and we discover that now the dinosaurs are not like you know reptile, but as I already said, like a giant duck. They are like more, let me say in quote, giant chickens. So first of all, we tried to recreate the sound that is more was more like you know birds. And of course, it didn't work as we expected. But this was important because we missed one important thing, and that was the strange sound that could have made, which can win all image. So we tried to using more unusual element, like we said, and you saw like the low string of the violin, the weird rumble sound of the balloon, and of course we use my own voice layered with animals. Of course, this is important because we create this kind of feeling of you know terrifying feeling, and we layered the different sound to recreate the different states of the Velociraptor in this case. For example, the gargles, the tremors, and some part of the roars. And you can find all of these sounds during the demo, so I won't spoil anything about. But yeah, when you start the demo, for example, for us it was important to not hear anything, just only the ambient sound. You will hear the raining and some thunders from the distance that will set the mood of the scene, or I should say for the entire video games, because it's a little bit cozy, but you know there is something that is not working because the voiceover, okay, it is very important, and yeah, you will see. So we came up after a lot of iteration with Nicola to find this sound that was particularly and very unique for each dinosaurs. In this case, for the Velociraptor.
Okay. Would you say coming up with like a sound and how you produce a sound for like a prehistoric creature while possibly making it uh, sound authentic but also terrifying is one of the hardest parts of your job as to do with sounds, because like I say, like with with everything that you're saying, with like you said with the dolphin, I think you said, that's
Yeah.
something that really amazes me about like people that create sounds out of like other sounds to create like a main sound, like just having that first idea and then knowing maybe what to use to create the final sample of what it is you're making. So my question is like, I know some things you've got in the game are placeholders. Are you happy with the way that the Raptor sounds, for instance? I haven't heard it yet because I haven't come across anything like I say, so I can't wait to hear it. Um, but are you 100% happy, or will you probably go back and change before the game launches?
Probably no, because I'm really happy with the sound.
Okay,
I will probably fix some frequencies, but it's like nerdy stuff.
okay, okay, yeah,
But all the sounds that you can hear are easily processed with different plugins. So you won't hear the balloons, you won't hear the violin,
hmm,
because I have a lot of plugins. One of my favorites is, for example, the name is very evocative. It's called Decapitator by Sound Toys, and
okay,
it's basically a frequency saturator.
okay,
But I use a lot of pitch shifting, and um, I think one of the most important key is the this plugin, the pitch shifting, with my voice, because, for example, when there is the the Velociraptor in an unaware state, we want to use anything too aggressive, but for the attack, for example, we use a lot of aggressive animal, so we mix a lot of animals like birds, monkey,
hmm,
and my voice was really important. And as I said, the pitch shifting, so pitching the voice a little bit up or down, is important because it's all about how our ancient brain works. This is a little bit like a biological lesson, but when back when we lived in the caves, low frequencies was very important for us because they triggered fear and a sort of anxiety states,
hmm.
because back then lions and tigers were the real treats for us. We are lucky that we don't have them around anymore here. But that it's like like a blueprint in our instinct. So we play a lot with these low frequencies, and yeah, you will probably hear about. And I won't spoil anything, but we create even a unique sound that, for example, the it is iconic in Jurassic Park, for example, in most of dinosaur. When you will hear the sound, it's a baby elephant pitched higher than the normal, but it's very recognizable. So I won't spoil anything, but you will hear something similar. But we work a lot to be very unique,
Okay.
even on these kind of sounds.
See, when we was playing the music and sounds with yourself, with the obviously with the YouTube video, um, you did say about being different to other studios and stuff like that, and I think it definitely shows in the examples that you've used, and obviously to create the sounds for the T Rex and the Velociraptor. Um, and I think in your video you highlighted the passion that you've got behind creating sounds. One of the things that stuck with me with your video was about having a video game, but then the sounds are completely off. And it's something which I think a lot of gamers take for granted, especially those of us like myself that aren't involved in like game development, where we just take in the ambience of an environment, and sometimes we come across enemies, or in this case, prehistoric creatures, and we don't take into effect and consideration the amount of time and effort it's probably took to actually create a character or a creature and make it as close to real life and believable as possible, where that you're going against in a game. So like the fact that I'm going to be playing a demo and the Velociraptor's going to have part of a balloon in it, I'm really thinking, no, this is a trick. This is a trick. But yeah, like just listening to all the work that you guys have put into this, from like the UI to the level design to the sound design. Like I said to everyone that's watching this, if you haven't downloaded the demo, moderators, can you put !demo in the chat, and also the other links as well. It's just incredible work that you guys are doing. Sav Mercy says, so what if a Velociraptor actually sounded like turkeys? I want one that at least sounds like a gravel voice hawk or eagle. Oh boy.
Yeah, I can totally say we use even parrot to create the sound, and yeah, it was
Really?
very
I
cool.
didn't know that.
Yeah, but not the real parrot, because even in Rome there are a lot of parrots, but they are very difficult to catch and let them sing for our video game. So we use, of course, commercial samples layered with, as already said, my voice, violin, and other stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, we did, as I said, a lot of testing during the build. And we, with Nicola, constantly changed the sound to find the perfect one. And I should say that Nicola is also great at giving feedback, not only for the sound design, but even for the music, which I really appreciate, because there is a strong synergy between us. And always after a short period of experimentation with monkeys, dolphin, and etc., we usually find the right path to follow, and from there is everything is flow smoothly. Yeah, it is amazing working with Nicola.
So what's more difficult for you then, as like a person that creates the sounds? Is it to create an original sound for maybe the prehistoric creatures that we are going to experience going against in the game, or would it be to capture the overall ambience to complement the level design? So things like maybe the rain like hitting the windows and opening, and probably opening doors, probably a simple one, but which to you, as someone that works in this area, which to you is more challenging, and then which one is more that you enjoy and rewarding, maybe more enjoyable for you to try and do?
Well, for me, I need to think, but I already think I know the answer. The ambient is a little bit tricky, because it depends on the ambient. I mean, for example, for this rain, I also used the real rain, of course, but I recorded French fries, for example, and IQ.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There is
Oh
a video,
my god.
There is a cool video on YouTube where there are 3 samples of rain, and there is a spoiler here, but you can guess, and you can listen this 3 sample of rain sound, and at least there is a question: which one is bacon and which one is the real rain, and there is the answer, all are bacons.
No
Yeah, because
way.
yeah, you
Wow.
can layer the sound, you can create sound from everything. I This is I think a very interesting job, but at the same time is like a bad job because if you hear in a video game or in a movie a bad sound, for example, a clap for a punch, something like that, you can recognize the sound, and your immersion is lost in some way. Or for example, you can walk around and I don't know. For example, my son play with a machine toy,
Hmm.
and I I used to recreate the reloading sound for this game, for example, and because you come across the sound and your ear is like training is trained to find the perfect sound, and you can say, oh, this sound maybe sound like a reloading gun. I should use this. This is amazing, and of course, in for example, in this kind of video games, there are for me there are some main seeds that must be, or we can say pillars, that we must respect to create a good sound, and of course a good immersion. In this case, the atmosphere was one, the environment sound was one of the pillars, because for example, in Resident Evil 8, even in the 7,
Hmm.
you can stay in the home and hear the sound, and you probably feel the anxiety just staying in the room without touching anything, but only hearing or listening the sound. In this case, the atmosphere was one of the key elements of the game. Of course, the dinosaurs was another one,
Hmm.
and yeah, the challenging probably in this case was the Velociraptor sounds, because as I said, we work a lot because it will be the iconic sound of the video game, and even the shooting sound was interesting to do with Nicola. We did a lot of mm, try and error, of course, but we found the, let me say in quote, the perfect sound for the game at the moment. Yeah, the music, I don't know why, but mm, it's the part that I like most to do, even because, as you already hear about the safe room theme, I really love this kind of, let's say, sadness with a pinch of hopeful inside the music, because I should say
Hmm.
I really like gothic music. I'm an electric guitarist, and I like a lot of gothic music. So this black soul is inside me, and I love to play
Music. Yeah.
this kind of music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you've nailed it with the original sound of this game.
thank you.
I think when you to everyone else watching the stream, if you rewatch the music and sounds with Carlo and listen to what Carlo's saying, and you take note, like the sound is a very important. You could have a very beautiful game, like a stunning game, right? And if the sound's off, if the music's off, that kind of spoils the overall player experience. So the sound is equally, if not more important, I think, than just how maybe a game would look. because it has to be believable. Like, for example, if you're going into an environment, it's raining, and the rain doesn't sound like rain, or it doesn't feel like sounds. You can feel sounds, you know. Like if you listen to some sound effects of the rain, it sounds weird. Me actually saying this, but you can almost imagine what that feels like. I sound like I'm actually crazy now, and it's believable. But if you don't have that, but then you have this beautiful game and it seems off, like that's a huge responsibility, like on your shoulders. And just I think you've got to match that responsibility with the level of passion, and I think you've definitely got that, Carlo. So how many
Thank you so
times is
much.
Vet going to Scream? Oh God, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But yeah, I don't know if we've got any questions in chat before we move on to the trailer. But if there's anything you want to add, Carlo, maybe whatever you want while I just go through chat, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, let me see if I've got any.
Just maybe a little bit about the music, because
Okay.
of course with Nicola we talked a lot about the music because it's a crucial part, and Nicola uh, knows how important is the music and the sound effect. Yeah, in general, the music that I created was intentionally not too horror oriented, so I didn't use too many what we call aleatoric licks, because if you don't know, aleatoric music is like a type of a composition where some elements are left to change or performer interpretation, creating an unpredictable and always, I should say, chaotic sound that is very used on horror movie or horror video games. But in this case, we went about a mix of action music, I should say, and a little bit of horror oriented, but not so much. Indeed, I use a lot of orchestral sound. That was our main voice, our main choice, and sometimes we use a little bit of synthesizer to enhance the low rumble of the sound, because mm, from the sample, when they were recorded, they cut the low frequency, and yeah, we need to add this low rumble in the low frequency. And yeah, I would like to also add one thing about the violin sound, because as already said, I hold a master degree in the Conservatory of Music, but yeah, this is a spoiler. I can play the keyboards, I can play the guitar, as I said, but I don't know how to play the violin. So it was very useful to not know how to play the violin, because I was able to create some interesting sound, as you watched on the video, because I don't know how to play the violin.
To be fair, I did not take that from the video. I thought you 100% knew how to play a violin.
No,
I was
this
like,
is cool because I can create any sound, because when you know how to play an instrument, and you know how to do a lick, how to do a technique, you probably go to perform this kind of technique, and you are a little bit, let me say, close in mind, because this is the instrument, and you have to play like this. But if you don't know how to play the instrument, you can take, for example, the bow of the violin and play the guitar with the bow. Or, for example, you can take the jack of the guitars and play the violin with the jack of the guitars, and record the rumble through the audio interface. So there is no limit for this, in my opinion.
I've got to ask, and if you can't answer, that's totally fine. But is there any other instruments you've used to create another dino sound that we may encounter in the game, or is it just for like the T-Rex, or maybe not? Is there any? Oh, all right, let me scratch that question. Is there any what we would class as like an unusual object that you've used to create a sound for maybe a dinosaur that will be introduced in the game at some point, or if whatever, if that makes sense. Like for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
it
Sometimes for some, I think gargles, we use the scotch tape, or the adhesive tape to replicate this kind of feeling of the Velociraptor, but not in particular any of weird stuff that I use beside my voice with
okay.
sometimes I really pitched my voice so high that I hurt my voice too, but it was okay for this game.
We got a question. I think Link asked. I think regarding your music. Are we able to listen to the music on other platforms when the game launches? I'm someone who would constantly listen to video game soundtracks, so would love to listen to some of the soundtracks when drawing. Is this something which you guys might do, like when the game launches, release your original game soundtrack to maybe YouTube or Spotify, something like that, for people to listen and enjoy? Or you're not decided
Yes,
that yet?
Yeah, I don't know, Nicola, if you want answer to this question.
Yeah, I don't.
I can, I can answer. Yeah, definitely after the game releases, yes, you can find the soundtrack on YouTube or Spotify, but also there is a rewards on Kickstarter with the digital collection of the music if you would donate on Kickstarter.
Okay. If you, like I say, guys, at the end of the stream and stuff, if you give me any and all information regarding like things to do with your Kickstarter, I'll of course any content that I make from this, I will make sure all of that information is linked, so potential fans and supporters have that. So if one of you are able to message me after the stream or next few days or whatever, I will be making content from the stream, and I'll make sure it's, if it's not already publicly known and you're happy with this, I'll let my Discord know, and of course anything that I upload, it'll be linked in.